Hello, sixth graders. Thank you for being respectful, responsible, and ready to learn today. Happy National Kindness Day. Please be kind to each other and also be kind to the sub this afternoon. I will be back tomorrow. So, first things first, we are going to take 5 minutes and go to your Classkick, which is in your Google Classroom, and work on the benchmark flashcard link that I gave you for 5 minutes. And then the sub will hand out the benchmark flash or the benchmark assessments and have you each do one today. And then at the end of the class, you will work on doing a little bit of estimation. So go ahead and practice first. Remember your benchmark assessment, you are not able to use calculators. Don't forget to simplify your fractions and use repeating signs where you need to. So the sub's going to pause, go ahead and do those two things, and then we'll come back and do the lesson. So today's lesson is all about estimating and thinking about benchmark or percents, fractions, and decimals that are ones that we have kind of memorized or ones that are easy for us to figure out maybe sometimes in our head as well. So it's all about using and doing some mental math. We'll of course want to hear or see what you're doing mentally to help you do each of these. So the first question today is 47% of 692. So sometimes you'll want to round both the percent and the whole, which is 692. And then sometimes you'll want to you'll just need to do some rounding for one versus the other. But in this case, I'd round both. So when I look at 47, that's a number that I would need to pick up my calculator and use. But if I were to think of 47%, I could round that to 50% pretty quickly. And 50%, most of us know that we would cut things in half. Also looking at 692, that's close to 700. And we can cut 700 pretty quickly, hopefully in our heads a little bit. So again, taking 47, it's close to 50 or 1/2, and then rounding 692 to 700. So when I do that, I get 1/2 of, remember of means multiply, so 1/2 times 700, or cut 700 in half to get approximately 350. We can also draw a diagram here. So this section right here is 1/2, and this section here is 1/2. And there is 350 on this side, and there is 350 on the other side. So to review, 40% of 692 is about 350. And there's that word about right here, and that a word about means that we were approximating or we're finding an estimate. So go ahead, and the sub is going to pause the video. I'd like you guys all to try. Same strategy. I'm going to let you know you're going to round or estimate both 49% and 302 and see what estimate you come up with. So welcome back. You should have written 50% of 300, and 50% of 300 is approximately 150. Some examples, you'll need to also think of benchmarks, but it won't just be halves. It's actually going to be some of the other benchmarks we know, like 60%. And 60% is 3/5. So 3/5 is going to be what we're working with. We'll really work with, okay, looking at our fifths. So what could we divide by, that's close to 27, by 5, easily in our heads? Good, 25. So we would round 27 down to 25 and divide it by 5. And when we divide it by 5, we get 5. So 1/5 of 25 is 5. But remember, we have 3/5 up here because that's equal to 60%. So 1/5 is 5, 2/5 would be another 5, and 3/5 would be another 5. So 5, 10, 15. So we could multiply 5 times 3, 5 being 1/5 again, and that would get us the answer of 15. So 3/5 of 25 is 3 times 5, or 15. So if we were to approximate again, so 60% of 27 is about 15. Go ahead and see if you can do this one. So think of your benchmarks that equal 80%, and then think of what you could round 1,605 by, and see if you can come up with the answer. Pause the video, or the sub will pause the video for you to go ahead and work with your table partners. Awesome. Okay, so we're back. So 1/5 of our answer of 1,500, rounding it to 1,500, is 300. And remember, 1/5 is 20%, and we have 80%. So we need 4/5. So 4 of these, 4 300s. So 4 times 3. Our answer would be about 1,200. Okay, sometimes we have word problems. I feel like this is a tad bit small, so let me go ahead and jump out that a little bit. Okay, so sometimes we have word problems. Polar bears can eat as much as 10% of their body weight in less than 1 hour. If an adult male polar bear weighs 750 15 pounds, about how much food can he eat in 1 hour? So 10% is 1/10. So if we think of 1/10 dividing by 10, we would want to probably estimate 715. So my first strategy is to go ahead and simplify 1/10 and go ahead and estimate 700. And when we do that, we think of 1/10 equals something over 700. And I multiply 10 by 70 to get 700. So multiply the top by 70. So there it is. There kind of shows you what to do. So using that equivalent fraction, equivalent ratios that we did last chapter, we can go ahead and apply that here to get about 70. So 70 pounds would be our answer. Or we can think of mental math, like I said, rounding 10% or using 1/10 for 10% and rounding 750, 15 is approximately 700. So dividing 700 by 10 or to get 70. So we could say a polar bear can eat about 700 pounds of food. Okay, so we could go ahead and do a similar approximation here. Let me just, okay. A CD that originally cost $11.90 is on sale for 25% off. About how much would you save by buying the CD on sale? Well, let's round $11.90 to a nice number. But before we do that, let's look at our benchmarks and what would be the benchmark for 25% as a fraction? Yep, you're right. It's 1/4. So think about how I can round $11.90, something that divides by 4. Yep, 12. 12 would be a good rounding for $11.90. So 12 divided by 4 is approximately $3. So about $3 is how much I would save. Okay, and we can sometimes we have to round both, like we did in the beginning here. So when we round both, we would round 17 out of 100, 17 out of 100. Or 1700ths. So when we do that, we would round actually 190 to 200. And then you can go ahead and double. 100 plus 100 is 200. So 17 plus 17 is going to be about 34. So 34 would be your answer. Remembering, again, that percent is always out of 100. So that's where we got the 17 out of 100. And then double 100, because 198 is close to 200. So if we double 100 plus 100, we have to double the top number of our ratio 17 plus 17, and that's where we get 34. That's another way of doing it. So there's lots of different ways, but again, keeping in mind that you want to approximate and get as close to the answer as possible, but also do some estimating. Okay, so I'm going to let you get started on your homework. And it is a book assignment, so you'll want to look on your pink sheet. Also, I have posted it in Google Classroom if you need help figuring out where to go.